If you've just been rejected, here are 3 things that you need to remember. I get it. Rejection hurts. Whether it's putting yourself out there, asking for a first date, being rejected after a few dates, or being broken up with after a long-term relationship. It can feel disappointing and comes with a lot of emotions. But it doesn't have to take you down. And when you've done the inner work and you remember these 3 things, it doesn't even have to hurt anymore. My name is Dr. Lilli. I help you heal from toxic relationships so that you can create the healthy relationship of your dreams. I went from anxiously attached to secure, and now I help you heal your insecure attachment style so that you can create the life and relationship that you desire. The way that you handle rejection says everything about you. I once was dating a man who, after telling him that I didn't think we were a good fit, he responded over text and said, "Ha, gay." And in my head, I was thinking, wow, that really revealed the level of maturity that he has. I remember thinking, that just confirms that this was not the person for me, and I really dodged a bullet. And let me remind you, this was a man who was in his mid to late 20s at the time. So old enough and mature enough to be able to handle rejection in a mature way. When I have rejected other people in the past and they've responded in a respectful and kind way, I've actually respected them even more. While maybe it didn't make me change my decision about where I thought the connection could go, I did for a brief moment reconsider because of how much emotional maturity they showed by handling rejection in a healthy way. So remember that the way that you handle rejection will leave whoever rejected you either with a better impression of you or a worse impression of you. And your subconscious will respond to the way that you handle rejection as well. If you handle it in an immature way or start thinking poorly about yourself, it's going to reinforce this idea that you aren't worthy and you really should think negatively of yourself. However, if you can face rejection in a more positive light without feeling like it means anything about your worth, it will reinforce to your subconscious mind that you are confident, that you are worthy, and you will continue to attract more positive experiences into your life. People who handle rejection well tend to be more emotionally mature. The first thing to remember when you've been rejected is that they're not rejecting you, even if it feels like it. When I got rejected, I used to think that there was something wrong with me. Why didn't I get chosen? What could I have done to fix it or change myself so that they would want me? And while it is good to reflect on your actions, your behaviors, how you showed up in whatever interaction it was, believing that I was inherently flawed or less worthy is not helpful. And when I healed those inner wounds of feeling unworthy and unlovable, any form of rejection hurt significantly less. I stopped questioning my worth and started seeing the rejection for what it really was, misalignment. And that made dating so much easier. When I realized that rejection wasn't about my worth and actually did the inner work to figure out what part of me was hurting. What beliefs did I have or experiences that I went through that made me believe the story that I wasn't enough? That's where the real change happens. So let's get back to the idea that they are not rejecting you as a human, as a soul, as a being, but they're actually rejecting the dynamic that's at play. Because every relationship is a unique dynamic between two people. So they're not rejecting you, but they're rejecting the dynamic or the potential dynamic that could come from it. For example, if this is early on, let's say you're just meeting, you put yourself out there and they've rejected you. Even looking at the idea of the rejection being based off of their level of attraction towards you, it is not a rejection of you yourself as a human being, as a soul, and it is not necessarily even the rejection of your appearance. They could find you attractive. However, it could be that a vibe was not in alignment with them. They could have made other assumptions about you that are not necessarily true, but something in their mind from past experiences or patterns that they've had that tells them that this is not the correct fit for them. It could also be that they find you conventionally attractive or a decently attractive person, but not the type of attraction that they're looking for. So this doesn't mean that you're not attractive. It just means that you're not the best match for them. And where this ties into the dynamic is that you want a person that finds you attractive. And they know from a subconscious level that if they're not that attracted to you, they're not going to be happy in the relationship. And you're not going to be as happy in the relationship because you deserve somebody who is attracted to you. If they aren't as attracted, then they won't show up their best or the way that you deserve. And so they're rejecting this potential dynamic that could be at play. The second thing to remember within this category is that rejecting the dynamic doesn't mean they're rejecting you. As I said, a dynamic is between two people, which means that it's not all on you. It's not all on you to fix things. It's not all on you to create a healthy dynamic. It is created between both parties. So it's not about who you are, but it's about the dynamic that has been created or could be created. Maybe an unhealthy dynamic has been formed and they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to solve the problem. They don't believe that you can solve the problem. But all of those things are actually limiting beliefs. If they haven't brought up the issue, then there's no way that the two of you could solve the problem because you haven't addressed it together. And one person, you, might not even be aware of the issue. This is why you can't have a good relationship without proper communication. So whatever is not being said, or whatever dynamic that has been created that is not resolved, that is separate from you. The relationship is an entity within itself. So just because they may have rejected the relationship, it doesn't mean that they have rejected you. Even if it's about your behavior or the way that you've showed up in the relationship, that's still not a rejection of you because your behavior is separate from you. Your behavior is a byproduct or a symptom of who you are in the present state, but it is not you as a human being or as a soul. And the wonderful thing is that even if they reject your behavior can be changed, and your behavior is not changing you. I'm not saying don't grow and develop and don't become a higher, more healthy version of you, but remember that your thoughts, your feelings are not you. Therefore, they can be changed, and your personality isn't even you. Your personality is a result of your experiences. You are an essence. And what is the essence? That's for you to figure out. It's also what I help my clients figure out. So if you need extra help with that, use the link down below. Lastly, within this idea of the dynamic is that they might be rejecting the person that they have to become in order to be with you. If they're not ready, if they don't think it's possible for them, if they don't want to put in the effort or the energy to do that, then they're going to reject everything associated with having to become that version of them, even if it's a healthier, more mature version of them, because they're not ready to do it. Maybe they're unaware, or maybe they just don't want to. And that's not on you, and it means nothing about who you are or your value. Relationships are a beautiful mirror and catalyst for growth, but sometimes people don't like what they see in the mirror, and they'd rather ignore the mirror, stop looking in it, and just continue as they are. Because once it's been illuminated, what still needs work, it's hard to stick your head in the sand. So it's easier to get rid of the mirror than it is to look in the mirror and do nothing about it, because that creates cognitive dissonance within a person. If somebody thinks one thing about themselves, like they're a great, healthy person and the best partner ever, but they're getting this mirror back to them that says, this still needs to be worked on. These relationship skills need to be improved. This is where you're not showing up in the way that your partner needs, and they're not willing to make those changes or put in the action and the effort to work on those things, then it's going to be very hard for them to see that, know that they're not doing it, believe that they are the best partner and very healthy, secure person, because this identity of being the best partner and the mirror that they're seeing isn't aligned. It creates cognitive dissonance within them. And that is a very uncomfortable feeling that humans try to avoid at all costs. A lot of people look in mirrors and they don't like what they see, but they do nothing about it. And so they stop looking in the mirror. And then you have to ask yourself, why be with somebody that doesn't want to look in the mirror and doesn't want to improve the things that they can in order to be happier with themselves and create a healthier relationship? The second thing to remember when you've been rejected is that rejection is redirection. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's absolutely true. You can reframe this in your mind that rejection is leading you to something that is even more aligned with you. And alignment means better. And that's exciting. So instead of feeling dejected and rejected, you can feel excited about what's to come. It's this or something better. The best thing to do is really feel this excitement in your body. How exciting it is that you get to have new experiences. How exciting it is that the best is yet to come. How exciting it is that you also get to grow within this process. Having this excitement and really being able to feel it in your body does take some detachment from the old version or identity of you that is choosing to feel rejected, that is choosing to be sad, and is choosing to hold on to whoever it is that rejected you. And if you need help detaching, because that is a skill in itself, I have a whole playlist on detachment. Check that out after this video. Not only is rejection redirecting you to a person or relationship that is more aligned for you, but it's also redirecting you to put your focus back on yourself, to heal yourself, to do the inner work, and to grow. Because within that space, you become the next highest version of yourself that can attract the right person. And sometimes that right person is this same person later down the line when you two are back in alignment together. But the healing and growth that you have to do must be focused on you and for you and not for anybody else. This rejection could be a reflection of where you're not aligned right now, but redirecting you to come back to yourself, to work on yourself, to gain the skills that you need for a healthy relationship. And if both people do that, can actually come back into even better alignment than you thought you had before. And the last thing to remember when you've been rejected is, why do you want somebody who doesn't want you? If somebody doesn't want you, doesn't want to, or can't show up in the way that you need, and both people are on the same page and they understand, but one person is truly just not choosing to show up in that way, then they're not the one for you. At least not in this moment. Not in the place that they are at right now within themselves. So in that case, you have to let them go and focus on you. When I've wanted somebody in the past who didn't want me or who rejected me, why I held on to this was because I felt like I had something to prove. I wanted to prove myself, to prove that I was special, to prove that I was worthy. But that truly only came from my own feeling of lack of worthiness within myself. That's where the pain of rejection came from. And that's where the pain and the desire to continue to want somebody who rejected or didn't want me came from as well. The inner work is absolutely vital. And if this rejection actually led you to the ability to focus on yourself and to do this inner work and to grow and become the magnetic, healthy partner that you can be, then this rejection is actually such a blessing. If you're not ready for it, if you're not ready to do this work and do the reflection, then especially these last two things aren't going to land for you. The idea that rejection is redirection, or the question of why would you want somebody who doesn't want you? If you're still stuck in a state of things happening to me rather than happening for me, those phrases are going to land flat. But if you're empowered in your state and you know that you don't want to be stuck feeling this way, you don't want to feel like you're a victim to your circumstances or a victim to other people's actions and behaviors, and you're ready to level up and do that work, then these will absolutely land for you. And that will shift everything. You will magnetize more people, better partnerships, better relationships that are more aligned to you. You'll stop attracting people that abuse you, neglect you, or run away when things get tough. I believe that if you're watching this video, you are empowered. You know that you play a role in the life that you create, and you get to decide what you think and believe rather than letting the outside determine that for you. If you're not quite there, but you know you can be and you want to be, that's okay too. I've worked with several clients that are just like that. They know they need change. They're not entirely empowered in their mindset yet, but they know that by taking a chance on themselves, they will get there. And guess what? They did. Just by taking that first step of taking the chance, of believing that something is possible, something different is possible for them, it became possible for them. In the past, I had reminded myself of these sentiments so many times, and it just didn't land for me because I wasn't ready yet. Here's a bonus thing to remember. Your dating and relationship life has much less to do with the other person and so much more to do with yourself and the relationship that you have with yourself. Because every experience you have is a reflection of you. So if you want to stop experiencing these unhealthy patterns, unhealthy relationships that keep repeating themselves with the same person in a different body, then you have to work on you. One other thing that I want to mention is that I did so much work on my own, which was amazing and fabulous. And I highly recommend, especially if you're fresh out of a rejection or breakup, to do some inner work on your own. And also, you can't do all of the work on your own. You can only reach a certain point healing by yourself, because by yourself, you're not triggered, you don't have that mirror. It's important to do it on your own so that you don't end up in a super unhealthy relationship again, so you don't keep repeating the same patterns. But also having those mirrors from another person is going to help you heal even further, especially if you have a guide like a coach, or you're at least keeping yourself accountable and doing that inner work. So I always recommend starting alone on your healing journey. Unless you're already in a partnership, then that works great, that's wonderful. But you do want to prevent repeating the same cycles. And what's wonderful is that when you do start the work alone, the people and relationships that you attract will not be as bad. You won't be triggered as intensely, and you'll be choosing partners that are actually able to show up better for you. Because you will never find a perfectly healed partner, just as you will never be a perfectly healed partner. But you can at least find better and more complementary, and that starts from shifting your inside. Healthy relationships are created. They take effort. They're not magically going to be perfect. You are going to get triggered, and you're meant to. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, like this video if you found it helpful, and in the next video, I'm going to give you ways to regain your confidence after being rejected. So make sure to subscribe so you get notified when that video comes out. Leave questions and comments down below, and I'll see you next time.